Hello and welcome to Last Century Tonight. I am Matt Lauer and I will be your host this evening. I'd like you all to know that we have some special guests who have come from a long ways back tonight. I have had the opportunity to interview these men and ask them 10 questions each. Without further ado, let's begin with our first guest on this show, Mr. Christopher Columbus. Thank you for letting me interview you today.
I am much obliged, good sir.
So, first question, what country were you originally from?
Many people believe that I am from Spain, but actually I am from a city called Genoa in Italy.
Ah, interesting. How did you become acquainted with the Spanish?
After my first wife died, I moved there with my son for a fresh start. I had come up with my plan to voyage across the sea for a while, but many scientists tried to disprove my calculations. Therefore, my requests were denied by Italy and Portugal. I came to Spain, hoping Queen Isabella and Ferdinand would accept my proposition. And they did.
LOL, what inspired you to become a navigator?
Although my parents were both weavers, I felt that I had always been drawn to the sea. I often watched sailors in my port city dreaming to be out on the waves.
What a great story. So how did you actually learn to sail and navigate?
As a teenager I had a job on a merchant ship, but one day we were attacked by the Portuguese and we were shipwrecked. Many of the men on the boat did not survive, but I managed to wash ashore with some driftwood. In Portugal I studied as a normal child in navigation and math.
That's terrible. I can't imagine how lonely you must have felt. Moving on though, from your entire career, what would you want your legacy to be?
I want to be remembered as one of the greatest explorers of all time. The first to find the quickest passage to Asia without having to around Africa.
LOL, you did not even hit Asia.
Excuse me?
Worry about it. Anyway, what special materials technology aided you on your journey?
I had originally said no maps or math equations to get to the Indies, also known as Dead Reckoning. But actually I did. New tools from Asia were being traded here in Europe, such as the astrolabe and quadrant. I use these on a few of my voyages.
Thanks for coming clean. Was there ever a point in your travel where you believed you would never make it back?
Yes. But no one should fear to undertake any task in the name of our Savior, if it is just and if the intention is purely for his holy service.
Fancy.
Google lists it as one of my favorite quotes.
What do you feel is your greatest weakness?
I would have to say my integrity. I told Queen Isabella that there are rivers of gold in the Indies.
You are such a jokester. I am surprised she believed you.
Yeah, cut. Me too.
You are literally the funniest person I have ever met. So, what did you learn from your exploration?
I learned that crossing that large ocean was possible, and that there were truly other uncivilized cultures beyond the Eastern Hemisphere.
Oh, by the way, do you have anything to say those natives you beat in the Bahamas on your voyage?
No. I don't like them.
You are heartless. Last question, how do you feel about Leif Erikson?
That man stole my rep. He don't deserve nothing at all. He just some dumb pirate who crashed his boat somewhere and started running around. He is just as bad as the guy that invented the fidget spinner. Why are we talking about?
We're back. Sorry for those technical difficulties. Our next guest is John Locke and everybody give him a warm welcome.
Why is nobody clapping?
Lol, I do not know. So John, can you tell us what inspired your liberalist ideas?
I would have to say because of my good friend. He was a revolutionist and I too wanted to be a part of the glorious revolution that was occurring in 1688. I had been exposed to those ideas.
Okay, next question. What's your relationship with Lady Damaris?
Well, I guess you could say we are an item. But she is married, so it's kind of an awkward situation.
Wow, I never would have guessed. Continuing on, how do you think your philosophy could be utilized in politics?
I think a country could eventually be so fed up that with a controlling government that they don't agree with, make a constitution, and give the right to life, liberty, and
the pursuit of happiness.
OMG. You are so not smart. It's property.
Oh, you're right. Next question. Who you consider your closest friend?
My closest friend was originally one of my clients when I was physician. He was one of the founders of the Whig Party, and we often talked politics. We started to grow close, and he hired me to become his personal physician. His name was Lord Ashley, the future Earl of Shaftesbury.
Who have you learned the most from in your time as a student?
I would have to say I learned the most from the professors of College of Christ's Church, but have gained much more insight from my friend Lord Ashley. In my time with him, I learned more in the field of politics and the issues with our government.
We know that you have spent time teaching in the Christ Church School in Oxford, but it seems that your ideals on a representative government and social contract versus the ideas of absolute monarchy are conflicting. What is your stance on absolute monarchy? Since you're a Puritan, shouldn't you accept that form of government?
Although I do believe in God, I don't believe just anyone can truly say whether or not God put them into power, especially since England's past few rulers have been failures.
How did you get exiled from England?
Well, although I played very little part in this, my close friend the Earl of Shaftesbury organized with his party the assassination of our king, so he didn't like me much.
Explain your work. 2 treatises about government.
I basically just rejected previous government theories I believed to be wrong, such as Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan, and then I asserted my own beliefs. Mainly that people should not be ruled over unless they are freely giving that person their consent.
How did your relationship with the Whig Party influence your social status?
Although there was always a sense of justice around us, we were often targeted by the government in place because we were a threat. Some people tried to stay away from us because we could cause them to be involved in that struggle.
How many works concerning politics have you written?
Concerning only politics. 3.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's it for John Locke. Thanks for stopping by, John. And we're back. Welcome our next guest, Joe S.F. McCarthy. So, what caused you to claim that communists had infiltrated the American government without any evidence?
Well, after becoming Wisconsin's youngest circuit judge at 30, I was promised a very successful career in politics, and even after I became a senator, my career still was very uneventful, so I decided to spice it up by making accusations and instilling fear in the hearts of many Americans.
Wow. Do you regret causing many Americans to lose their jobs over an accusation that may or may not be true?
All the names I released are communists, and it's a disgrace to call them Americans. I do not regret a thing.
You are weird. Is it true you are a chronic alcoholic and have been caught drunk in the Senate? Has this contributed to any of your erratic behavior?
I drink the same amount as any healthy male, and no, I don't mix my home life with my profession.
Oh, okay. Why were you censured by the Senate?
Apparently my accusations had no real evidence back to it, but I think it's a load of baloney. They must be communists too.
I'm sure they are. So, after becoming the youngest circuit judge in Wisconsin, why did you decide to leave and become an officer in the Marine Corps?
I wanted to serve my country not only on the home front, but with my boys fighting the Nazis during World War II. I killed over 7.5 trillion men and saved hundreds of my fellow comrades, and I earned the nickname Tail Gunner Joe.
Speaking of those numbers, I heard a lot of your accolades and claims of heroism were falsified/exaggerated. How do you respond to this?
Okay, maybe a little. They called me Head Gunner Joe.
Throughout your career you have been accused of lying through your teeth. Do you think you are a pathological liar?
No, of course not.
Okay, why did you change political parties?
After I was overlooked as a candidate for the Democratic Party for district attorney, I switched.
Interesting. Is it true you were described as evil and unmatched in malice?
Yes, unrightfully so. I believe I did our country a service by giving them a wake-up call that communism could not only be abroad, but at the home front.
What was the most important achievement of your life?
Becoming a circuit court judge at 30.
Well, there you have it. Thanks for joining us, Joe. Welcome back. I'm here with my next guest, Maximilien Robespierre. First question, why was your nickname the Incorruptible?
I, Maximilien Francois-Marie Isidore de Robespierre, gained my nickname from my honesty and commitment to transforming France into a republic of virtue. My main goal was to defend people's rights, especially the more modest people's ones. Therefore, I became a lawyer. I am also the most important member of the Committee of Public Safety. Its role is to protect France from the people who disagree with my idea of revolution. Thus, being that, I have the power to eliminate people.
Interesting. Can you explain to me what Reign of Terror is?
I knew that it was really horrible, but at least we all needed it. My goal is to clean up the French Revolution's enemies and protect the country from those who didn't agree with our idea of revolution.
Okay, continuing on. Why was King Louis XVI considered a traitor?
He tried to run away by writing letters together with Marie Antoinette to all European monarchs asking for their help. I consider that as betrayal.
Well then, who were the Sansculottes and the Jacobins?
They are some people who wanted to remove all of the differences social class such as like monarchy. And I agree with them.
What is the purpose of your decapitation device, the guillotine, and more importantly, what does it symbolize?
The idea is execution for the death penalty by decapitation. Since King Louis V banned the usage of the breaking wheel, the guillotine was purposely built for execution, for the intention of ending a person's life rather than just torturing them with pain. The guillotine symbolizes the reign of terror and how cheap a person's life is, for it to be able to end a life in a very fast way. It symbolizes how hard the people of France had fought to earn their liberty.
Wow, how interesting. What's your role in French Revolution?
To punish the oppressors of humanity is clemency, to forgive them is barbarity.
Are you the one who started the Reign of Terror? Why did that happen and why did you start the Reign of Terror?
Yes, to make the people agree with the democracy, and if someone doesn't agree I'll kill them. Because if I'm not doing that, then people won't be as sufferers now.
What did the King Louis XVI fault? Why did you agree to guillotine King Louis XVI?
After that war with the commoners, he tried to run away along with his wife and kids, and he is one of the people that doesn't agree with democracy. Before, the commoners and I didn't feel that King Louis V isn't fair.
There is evidence of you defending the lower class citizens through law. Is there any reason why you protect them?
The poor need to be defended, for without their lower class wisdom and hard work, the rich wouldn't survive. Death to the rich.
Well then, thanks for joining us, Max. We hope that you come back with a French accent next time. Welcome back. I'm here with our next guest, Henry Bessemer. So, what inspired you to produce steel?
I solved a tough problem, allowing me to produce steel at a very low cost.
Exciting. Can you tell us about the Bessemer process?
Sure, Matt. It is the removal of impurities from the iron by oxidation with air being blown through molten iron.
What was the converter you invented?
It is a great device that allows me to carry out the Bessemer process at a very cheap price.
Do you think steel can make the world a better place?
Absolutely. It will largely impact the world because it is a much stronger material compared to iron that can reduce the number of bridge collapses and strengthen buildings and machines.
What is your response to companies rejecting your process?
They missed out. I decided to start my own steel-making company, which made me a fortune.
Why were you forced to learn about patents?
My ideas were so amazing that I had to patent them because so many people were trying to steal my idea for their own gain.
Wow, radical. Can you tell us about the Bessemer Saloon Ship Company?
Sure, homie. It was one of my greatest failures. My idea caused ships to become virtually unsteerable, causing great stress for some ship captains.
Thanks for sharing that with us, pal. So, what are some of your other inventions?
Finally, someone asks me about my other stuff. Well, I invented things such as bronze powder, the process of creating ribbon of plate glasses, and a sugar cane crushing machine.
Wow, how impressive. How do you think being self-taught benefits you?
It allows me to explore ideas that I never would have had the chance to explore if I were to study in regular school.
Well then, what is your reaction to becoming knighted by the Queen?
It was a great honor to be recognized for my inventions.
Thanks for coming, Henry. That's all for this week, folks. Tune in next week for an amazing segment on how to dab and how to make a fire mixtape in 5 easy steps. Have a nice day, folks.